What is self-mastery? When you have developed self-mastery, you have the ability to control yourself in all situations, and you move forward consciously and steadily toward your goals. You know your purpose, and you have the self-discipline needed to do the things in a deliberate, focused, and honorable way. The 7 essential skills are self-awareness, self-discipline, emotional intelligence, positive thinking, goal setting, time management, and stress management. A strong sense of self-esteem is the ability to make your own decisions when you take responsibility for yourself and you realize that you have control over your emotions. Self-mastery will be the byproduct. Emotionally, you are 100% responsible for what you think and feel, and no one has the power to make you feel anything you don't believe about yourself. Join us live Friday. Hey everybody, welcome to Andromeda 7, your channel for community support, help, friendship, love, knowledge, and being of value to others. It's so good to have you guys with us tonight. You know what it is. It's Friday night. It's time to feed your mind and grow your heart. Yeah. And tonight we're talking about self-mastery, self-esteem, and emotions. Seems to be a very, very popular topic tonight. I want to go ahead and greet the chat room. Hi, everybody. Hi, Scotty boy. I see you had some issues today with some young gentlemen. Elderberry, good to see you, brother. Nice that you're joining us. Grumpy Stack, how you doing? Let's see, who else we got? I think that's all
showed up so far.
For the moment. Yeah. Yep, they all trickle in. They start coming in, and we'll deal with that. But I'll throw it to you, and so I can get my stuff ready while you're chatting a little bit with everybody about tonight's show.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. So Lori wrote down this YouTube description for those of you who didn't get a chance to read it. But lack of low self-esteem can be a myriad of false self-beliefs. For example, not thinking much of yourself, blaming yourself, focusing on your own weaknesses, feeling self-conscious, avoiding challenges or trying to be perfect, apologizing a lot, feeling unable. Good one. Feeling self-conscious, avoiding challenges, which she never does, or trying to be perfect, apologizing a lot, feeling unable to assert yourself, being eager to please, feeling like you don't deserve threats, and not thinking much of yourself. In each and every moment, we are given the choice to either respond with positive or negative emotions. And more often than not, we choose a path of egotistical behaviors that feed our need to be right in every situation. And when you're feeding your ego, you allow yourself a feeling of superiority in this process because being wrong just doesn't feel good. When you're honest with yourself and your feelings, you will realize this can be a catalyst for changing your behavior. So we're going to talk a little bit about this tonight, how we can flip that script.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Lori?
Definitely gonna flip it. You bet.
Yeah.
So I was talking with my guide, and he gave me 10 questions to ask the panel. So I thought we would kind of do a round deal, and something you'll probably be triggered when we start answering some of these questions. But you know what? I'm going to start with Grandpa Brian tonight, and Grandpa Brian may have a bit of a delay, so we'll take it however it comes. But one of the first things we want to do is control our emotions. So I'm wondering, how do you control your emotions, Grandpa Brian, when you're dealing with somebody that you're just not meshing with?
Well, uh, most likely I'll probably walk away from them. But if I can't do that,
Mm-hmm.
I let them say what they have to say, do what they have to do, know that they're on their journey, I'm on my journey, and whatever they say or do does not affect me directly. So they can do whatever they want because that is their life, their path. I don't let it attach to me. I don't let it affect me. I let them be who they want to be. And if that's being negative, then, you know, be negative somewhere else. It's
Yeah.
deflecting off me and back onto you. So just
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be negative around me.
I like that. I like that. How about you, Delabor? How do you control your emotions with others?
Well, I just bounce it right back basically because by not resisting, and usually it's never I that attack other people. It's other people that attack me,
Mm-hmm.
unprovokedly, and usually it's things like, oh, you're a right winger, or you're an anti-vaxxer, or you're a racist, or whatever. I'll be like, yeah, fine, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I got
Doesn't affect you. Yeah.
no.
I'm kind of
If
for
you want to
me.
believe, if you want to
Yeah.
believe that, fine, go
Yes.
right ahead.
Go right ahead. It's all good. And because you're going to believe whatever you're going to believe anyway.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
for me, I like to dissect what they're saying. I like to take a moment and really absorb what they're saying and observe what your issue is or what's going on. And then I get kind of quiet because I'm just really analyzing everything. And then if it doesn't feel good for me, I'm like Grandpa Brian, I'll walk away, or I'm like, excuse me, or oops, I got something to do over here. Or, yeah, it's just removing yourself from that situation, I think, is one of the best things you can do. Or excuse yourself, and just,
Hmm.
maybe not get into the engagement of it, because it's really not going to. It's not going to be fruitful for you, and it certainly won't be for them. How about you, Teresa? How do you control your emotions with others?
Depends on who they are and
Ooh.
how they're wired. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to be able to say that I have evolved the way in which I choose to respond.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I take your approach, where I'm just like, what are they saying? And I'll narrow my eyes and I'll just listen,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's come at me a full front insult or attack or something. Um, Other times, I put on my lion skin. I become the lion, and that's because of what their personality is. And so, um, but I'd like to say it's a combination of the owl and the lion energy,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I've learned to not just take it
Yeah.
anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same token, I don't have to be violent or react in a overly temperous way where I'm throwing things and screaming and yelling or anything like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I stand in my power, and power defined the definition of that is my self-awareness, that it's
Mm-hmm.
their energy that's doing this, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to understand, and I'll try to reason, and then if that fails, I walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And I never used to do that. I used to be very confrontational, and not anymore.
Yeah. Lucky Stone in the chat room has made a comment. It does not matter the mindset of the other person. You only need to listen with compassion. accept that they can have their belief and leave their beliefs with them. Yeah, totally agree with you.
Oh, totally, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But I'm talking about when you're confronted with
Hmm.
someone who's coming at you
Yeah,
and is starting to
yeah.
gaslight you or put you in a
Hmm.
corner or make you feel
Yep.
uncomfortable or control you.
Hmm. Yep.
That's I can be compassionate up to a point, and then I'm
Hmm.
going to stand my ground, looking
Yeah.
in the eyes.
Won't be controlled.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
should also
Sophia. Oh, go ahead.
I should also point out that mindset is a whole other thing. It's a whole other dimension that steps into this.
Hmm.
Because if like I'm out in public and somebody starts something with me or whatever, and there's a potential of getting violent, I'd rather not go there because he
Hmm.
doesn't know it, but I have a gun on me. Okay, I have a concealed carry.
Yeah.
And that makes all the difference in your way of thinking because you know that you could just kill this person anytime you want to. So that puts the responsibility on you to de-escalate that situation. That it's better to lose face and walk away rather than
Yeah.
you know
Hmm.
having complications because of it.
Yeah. Lucky, you're so right. People who
Yeah.
confront are looking for a reaction. That's
Right.
exactly
So I
right.
don't.
Yeah.
So I
That's
don't
why.
give of the reaction that you
Hmm.
want. That's the
Yeah.
Right.
thing.
And
So,
and and I've been kind of doing that too because Lori's kind of taught me that, and it actually works. It's just like they're expecting this reaction, and what I
you
do
don't.
is I get firm. I have set
Hmm.
boundaries, and I get firm in my discussions. And I used to be intimidated, and
Hmm.
that would provoke me into feeling like I was backed into a corner, and then I would get
Then you get
confrontational.
angry. Yep. Then you get
Yeah.
mad.
So now I
Yeah.
don't do. Now it's the reverse process.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sophia, good to have you with us tonight. We missed you the last few shows, but we know it was hard for you to get online. But you're here tonight, and I'm loving
Yep,
it. And
we
I'm
made
wondering,
it.
fantastic. I'm wondering how do you control your emotions when you're
For
dealing with
me,
others?
this is a three-part answer. The
Okay.
first one, the
Mhm.
first one that I employed was journaling. I have
Mm.
written a lot of letters that I have burnt instead of mailed.
Oh God, that's
Um,
so good. I
oh,
love that.
it's a,
Mhm.
and employing a specific vessel like the prayer urns that I have amplifies the cleansing
Mhm.
because also, how do I control my emotions? Being a psychic and also a medium,
Mhm.
actively unfolding my gifts, it's been amazing. But you remind yourself real quick, your ancestors, my ancestors are watching, you know, and
Hmm.
just because I feel I can or
Mhm.
I deserve to do that, I mean, I value what the people that have gone before me, like my dad, even though he's not on the planet anymore, I feel he still sees me. So that helps me control my emotions. He would tell me it's not in the playbook. It's like, when you just want to do that no look elbow to the face. And my dad's like, it's not in the playbook. And I'm like, I
Mhm.
can think it. He goes, you can think whatever you want.
Yeah.
What you tell your body to do is a different story.
True. True.
Uh-huh.
True.
Uh-huh.
True.
And then finding the counterbalance. This is something that I used when I was being very sensitive and impacted by other people's feelings. Like if I'm low, I put on upbeat music. I listen to major chords, aromatherapy,
Mm.
stuff like that,
Mhm.
to balance myself back out, and
Yeah.
vice versa.
I like
Yeah,
that. You're just changing the frequency. You're just flipping the script for yourself.
you have
Yeah.
to.
Yep.
What do I want to attract? It's not those kind of emotions. I'm over it.
Right. Right. So you keep
Mhm.
control. Hi there, Karen, Queen of Courts. How are you?
Oh, very good. Hello, Miss Laurie and everybody.
It's good to have you with us. So
Yes, thank you so
I
much.
saved you for the last because I know you've got a lot to speak about this, and can't
I don't
wait.
know.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
How do you, Karen? How do you control your emotions with others?
Um, It depends. Life is
Mm-hmm.
very complex, and there's a time to control your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times when you shouldn't control your emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and let them flow free. So, again, it's knowing yourself, know thyself, knowing your patterns, knowing your cycles,
Mm-hmm.
intuitively knowing when you're at your most vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
and when you should stay quiet, and when and or knowing when you're at your strength, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When depending what's presented, that if it's to stand in your own integrity, morals, and your belief system, and depending what the situation is, you might need to show some fight or emotions, or stand up for causes or truth or justice or situations.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's when the weak sometimes don't do anything that evil prevails, and so it's not always uh, all the time to control ourselves and control emotions and control passion, and control your righteousness, and what
Mm-hmm.
makes our world human, and what makes things in our realities have the energy that we want to be in, that's right for us. So
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
great
so
point.
again, yeah,
Yeah.
so again, and but you're right, there's times when you need to control, and I always have a space between myself and other people. Usually when we have conversations, because remember, everything is this direct energy exchange, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what you're doing with people, plants, animals, I don't care what it is.
Mm-hmm.
When there's something on this planet that's live and conscious, so
Mm-hmm.
that's that direct energy exchange. So what I always do is, I always have a space between myself and people to to listen, to absorb,
Mm-hmm.
to reflect, deflect,
Mm-hmm.
depending if it's an
Mm-hmm.
attack. If it's loving, then you want to absorb it and hug it in and take it in and give it
Mm-hmm.
back. So
Yep.
again, it's a knowing what the energy is, and where what you're exchanging with other people, whether you're going to be an open system or a closed system. So
Yeah.
yeah, so you always,
I gotta play or not play.
yeah, yeah. So, so emotions are something that, for me, it's about awareness, and for myself, and perceiving every moment, every experience with every person and animal or planet, and deciding at that moment what
Mm-hmm.
type of control to have, or to not have on my
Yeah.
emotions.
So it's like not sticking your head in the sand and just being oblivious to anything. It's actually thinking about how you want to react to the situation and
Yeah.
And
kind of
Yeah.
assessing that before you make a decision to open your mouth and say something.
correct. So you
Yeah.
give
Yeah.
Yeah.
you give that space. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a segue into the number two question. And Grandpa Brian, how do you respond to others? Just generally, how do you respond to people that come into your space and not so much confrontational, but I mean, are you friendly with people? What's your demeanor when you're dealing with other people? How do you respond to others is what I'm asking.
Uh, that motto, kill them with kindness. Someone comes at you, be kind to them and keep being
Mm-hmm.
kind to them. Maybe eventually that'll rub off and they won't be so aggressive to you, and then they'll start treating you with kindness. But
Mm-hmm.
then there's those other people that actually really know how to push your buttons, and
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
those are the ones that can really get underneath your skin that make it hard to be kind to them.
Mm-hmm.
But
So true.
I have a little sticky note right beside my door that says, "Be kind to everyone you meet today. Show
Yeah.
compassion to everyone you meet today. Just love everyone you meet today." So I try to live by that. Even if they push my buttons or piss me off, I still try to show kindness back to them,
Mm-hmm.
because there ain't no reason in getting showing anger towards them, because then all of a sudden now it becomes confrontational. Just hit them
Mm-hmm.
with kindness and love.
Yeah, best way to be. A good way to be. Delabore, how about you? How do you respond to others?
Well, that depends on set and setting, as they say.
Yeah.
It's usually not contextual in the sense that whatever somebody tells you, it's something that they sincerely believe. Nobody tells you something that they don't believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody espouses an opinion they don't genuinely hold. So, I guess the goal is to find out, why does this person think this, or what made this person espouse this or that particular viewpoint, and then try to understand that viewpoint, because viewpoints matter, and viewpoints are dependent on things like your financial status, your age, your race, country, all these different factors. So you can't judge somebody necessarily for their viewpoints and say, oh, that's bad. No, you have to understand it from their own viewpoint and why they feel that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of put yourself in their shoes to just, I can
Yeah.
understand why you feel that way. And yep, yep, yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. Hmm. Interesting. How about you, Sophia? How do you respond to others?
Um, he. I generally, I have evolved quite a bit in this regard. Let's just preface this statement. I'm not who I used to be. I'm a lot nicer person. But for the longest time, it was, you do this to me, I do that to you, and then
Sure.
once
Vindictive.
you, yeah, once you get tired of being in that frequency,
Mm-hmm.
you approach it differently. And I just don't. Some people, no is a complete sentence. Boundaries are there for a reason. And
Mm-hmm.
when people are close to me, they deserve to be that close. And if for some reason something gets misunderstood or it becomes unbalanced or unhealthy, I don't reject that person. They just get different scenery, they get different privileges. When it
Mm-hmm.
comes to interacting with me, it's a privilege to be close to people. And our
Yeah.
culture does not repeat that enough, if at all.
And
That they think,
yeah.
oh, you're standing there, I have a right to talk to you however you want. Well, you can talk to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm, mhm.
because I don't have to do anything. I have that privilege,
Yeah.
of where I live and how I live my life. I have freedom. I don't
Yeah.
have to do what anybody says. I
And
have to
trust
do.
is earned, right? You have to earn your trust first and
That's
foremost.
right. Respect
Mm-hmm.
is given, trust is earned, and that's how the boundaries move. If you start breaking my trust, if I have to question, or look at something twice because the energy signature is crossed, that's the only way. I'm self taught in a lot of regards. Then
Mm-hmm.
I still love that person with the same intention and intensity,
Mm-hmm.
but they have to be further away from me to preserve the integrity of the exchange.
Yep. I agree.
Hmm.
That's awesome. Well
Mhm.
said.
Thanks.
True. How about you, Teresa? How do you respond to others?
Well, uh, I don't take a cookie cutter approach because everybody is unique and different.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I try not to put one script on another. In other words, I might notice some similarities and characteristics from one person to another,
Mm, yeah, archetypes. Mm-hmm.
archetypes,
Definitely.
and
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
try not to put them in those boxes because I might not truly understand what's really going on inside their lives at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I take an approach um, where I always go into the situation thinking the best part of the person. So
Mm-hmm.
when I look at a person and I talk to a person, I'm not evaluating or judging them based on how they look or how they dress or how they stand or how they walk. I'm looking into their eyes and I'm feeling that energy about that person. I'm trying to do a soul read,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
The eyes
not.
are the window to the soul, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm looking for a connection, and once I can make a connection, then I can be more empathetic as I'm listening.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually am pretty good about sizing up a person overall.
Mm-hmm.
and know how they're going to come at me with certain things, and so it just makes it a lot easier to practice emphatic listening skills.
Yeah.
And it really helps you to establish a rapport
Mm-hmm.
without predetermining based on race, color, the way they dress, their attire. Some of the and I've actually had people criticize me like,
Mm-hmm.
you'll just relate to anybody, won't you? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you'll
That's a
actually have a
skill.
you'll have
That's
a
a skill.
relationship. Yeah, I guess maybe it's just that I love people.
Yeah, you do.
I just
Yeah.
love people, you know
Yeah,
that.
you do.
And
Yes.
so I enjoy people. And I don't care if you scrub floors for a living or if you're a brain surgeon. I don't care if you have years and years of college education or you only went through the 7th or 8th grade. It doesn't matter to me. What I'm interested in is, what are you interested in? Because you might have some similar interests to me, and then we can have a rapport. Or
Mm-hmm.
you might have an interest in something I've always wanted to know about. So you'd be a
Mm-hmm.
really cool person for me to get to know because you have knowledge about things that I
Piques your
don't, and I've been very curious. So
Yeah.
I'll always approach people and respond to people as a friend, a potential friend. Let's
Mm-hmm.
put you that way,
Okay.
as a potential friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then as time goes on within the conversation or within the interaction, and it could take weeks or it could take minutes. It just
Mm-hmm.
depends on their personality and their character and how they're seeing and perceiving things. But
Mm-hmm.
that's how I respond to people.
Yeah.
And
I
I
like
and it's just because it's just life is interesting.
that.
That
Mm-hmm.
life is interesting and everybody's freaking interesting. And
So you're curious as to what people
I'm
have to
just
say, what
freaking
their story
curious.
is. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's that Cancerian energy in you, I'm sure.
Yep,
probably,
yep.
probably.
Hey, Karen, how about you? How do you respond to others?
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, I probably spend more time with animals and in the wilderness with the squirrels
Yeah,
and bears and
Yeah,
people, but no.
I love animals.
For me, with each person that I meet, it's basically what Teresa said.
Mm-hmm.
I When I meet somebody, I treat it with importance, with the highest, most importance, because in our day and age, other than especially physical contact, when you actually physically come in contact with somebody in their space, and
Mm-hmm.
you set can be in their energetic space, and when you actually, with I always think of it with the 9 billion people on the planet, here is this person in my actual physical space. It must be important for me. I look at that every encounter with each person. So that's the first way that I look at it. And then it's more or less assessing the energy, and go from there, see what's the set, like Dalabar says, what's going on, how they are energetically. Are they attacking me? Are they friendly? Are they hugging me? And,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah,
and then go from there. Are they friend? Are they foe? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And and then just have a conversation or not from there. And you can tell the people that you connect with,
Mm-hmm.
because you automatically feel comfortable and you'll open up and you'll share and you'll experience and you'll share energy. Those that you won't, you'll kind of shut down and you'll make a space, and then like you'll say, I'll be like, they'll talk or whatever, and I'll just kind of pretend I'm listening.
yeah,
I call that selective hearing. Yes,
Yeah,
I'm very good
selective
at that.
hearing,
Yes.
depending, but so I'm not outright rude. I'm not countering the attack. I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just okay, yeah, yeah, and then try to make an exit as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Depending,
Most
yeah.
people
depending
just want to be heard.
just want to
Most
be.
people just want to hear themselves talk.
And I'm a hugger. I
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
admit, I'm a hugger. When I
I
meet
love
people, the
that.
first thing I do is I want to give them a great big hug and feel
Yeah,
that.
Aw,
yeah.
I love
I am
that.
too.
And
That's
and I
awesome.
squeeze
Yeah,
them and just feel how
Mm-hmm.
they are. So you can tell how people are, whether they're stiff, whether they're standoffish, whether they're
Sure.
yeah,
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
whether
love that. That's
well,
awesome.
yeah, I'm a hugger.
You're a hugger.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. I like that.
I like that too. Yeah, I am
Um,
too.
yeah, most definitely. Grandpa Brian, we got the next question, which is number 3. How do you develop a sense of self-worth? How do you get self-worth?
by the actions that I do and by the way I treat people and how I conduct myself when I'm around other people. You know, just like I said, just being kind to someone, maybe just saying hello to someone in a store line, and maybe they don't have anybody that, at home or family around them, and, they're always alone, but that simple hello may just made their day. So just, it all goes back to just acting kind to people. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Did Lori freeze up?
Yeah, I think she froze up.
All right.
Oh
Well, we'll
no.
just keep going.
Oh, she might have.
Sophia, how about you?
Let's see here. How to develop this? I would say by studying my family history.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I did it. What are my roots? Where do I come from? And then what do I want to leave behind me? How do I want people to remember me? Because there's many sides that I have, and not everybody sees every side. And what am I contributing to those around me? Is it positive? Is it helpful?
Mm-hmm.
And when things are positive and helpful and people laugh and people heal, that's where I get my self-worth. When I use my experience down here, when people come to me asking me questions, and then by the end of the conversation, we're laughing, smiling, now we're Facebook friends. That's where my self-worth comes from, is when I make a new connection. And
Mm-hmm.
we can I can learn from them, they can learn from me, type thing. That's what does it for me.
Cool.
Sorry, guys, I froze up. It's Chrome that's creating the problem for me. So
Mhm.
not
That's right.
sure.
We bounced over
Does
from Brian to Sophia.
okay. Then it would be Dalibor. Or did
Well,
we? Yeah, go
self
ahead.
worth, self worth. I don't know. That's kind of a tough question. I guess. How do I determine my own self worth?
Mm-hmm.
Mm, independent of other people. I don't judge myself based on anything that society says. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's my own sense of accomplishment. I mean, I may have conquered something in my life, for which there is no college degree, something for which there is no merit badge, no skill
Yeah.
award, none of that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a lot more material for me than, and that's something that's invisible to other people,
Yeah.
so it's not something I can use other people as a measuring stick against.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to explain. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think about it too much.
Yeah. I think self worth for me is having self love, respecting yourself, respecting others. Just self worth is within yourself and treating yourself with respect and love always. And when you do that, then you tend to do that to other people. You kind of practice that. But that's how I do it. How about you, Karen?
Hmm. For me,
Mm-hmm.
self worth, it's kind of a combination. I was
Mm-hmm.
listening to Sophia, and again, with myself being such a mind person and bent towards learning and research and knowledge and the acquiring of that and connecting dots, I just get thrilled when I can make sense of something or have a aha moment about something in my reality for myself. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Dalabar says, and most times it's unique and special to me and has nothing to do with anybody else, and it's hard to explain. It's very off the wall. It's something that you can't describe. It's
Mm-hmm.
something to do with the active side of infinity and your spiritual self. and so for me, that's my self-worth stems from that, and a knowingness
Mm-hmm.
of me and I am, and it has nothing to
Yeah.
do with anyone else or their paths or what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a peacefulness that I feel,
Yeah, knowing yourself.
a
Yes.
peacefulness of knowing
Mm-hmm.
yourself to the extent that almost nothing can break your shell or barrier of that, or impede that which is progressing your path or your journey in your, in this reality that we're
Yeah.
in. So
Yep.
sort of my self-worth has to do with that. So it's a combination of what Sophie said, what triggers me and what gets me going, and I'm passionate towards, as well as what Dalabar said. It's hard to describe and put a finger, on
Mm-hmm.
exactly. It's, yeah.
Yeah. Grumpy Stack says, I don't talk down on myself. I just don't like to pump myself up. Ooh, I I love that part where you don't talk down about yourself, and I rarely ever, and if I do find myself kind of talking down on myself, I reverse it and I change it and I put a positive spin on it. But I do not like to put myself down in any way, shape, or form. I won't do that to myself. And I will pump myself up. Absolutely. I will
Self
pump myself up.
edification.
Mhm.
You bet I will.
Hmm.
God, you did a great job, Lori. That was awesome. Wow, you're so creative. You're so this. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with pumping yourself up. No one else is going to pump you up. You might as well take responsibility for that for yourself.
That's
Yeah, and
right.
I would
Absolutely.
add some. I would add something to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I should have added that my sense of self worth comes from my freedom, because
Yeah.
freedom, that's my highest.
Independence and freedom. Yes.
Exactly,
Yeah.
independence and
Mm-hmm.
freedom. In high school, I was taught to be a good worker. To join the corporate workforce or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do that. Well, I did do that at first, or
Mm-hmm.
at points in my life, but the ultimate goal has been reached.
Yeah.
I'm not dependent on government. I'm not dependent on an employer. I don't have a high standard of living, but I don't want a high standard of living. In
Mm-hmm.
other words, I have exactly what I want.
Yeah. And you're happy with that, and it's all
It's
good.
yeah.
You have what you need.
Hmm.
All your needs are met. That's how I feel about it too. Go ahead, Sophia.
Yeah.
I like what Lucky Stone says. It's a good point. Speaking kindly to yourself, and stop the negative self talk.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
our society, especially Hollywood, the things that are, interesting generally aren't the most balanced topics. And if you stay in that mindset for too long, you start talking to yourself that way. And it's like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then things
Yeah.
start to get interesting. Good point, Lucky.
Yeah,
Very good
very good
point.
point.
Hmm.
Awesome. How about you, Teresa? How do you develop a sense of self worth?
It's been a long process. It took me a
Yeah.
while. I used to do it in terms of a career development. I would always judge my self worth not
Mm-hmm.
based on interpersonal interactions with social, um, on a social basis or relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I put all my time and energy into my career, and so to me, self worth was about how I was succeeding, how I was being accepted by clients or accepted in. It was all about acceptance and about a feeling of accomplishment on the job. So, needless to say, I didn't have a very good social life. And in the past couple of years, it's been kind of refreshing to discover who I really am. And
Same.
part of that
Hmm.
process is realizing, um, acknowledging the positive things about myself,
Mm-hmm.
um, and not brush off compliments. And learning how to accept compliments from others,
Mm-hmm.
um, not dismissing my achievements, um, or saying, "Oh, that was just luck," or "That was just something that I worked my way into. I actually earned it." So it took me a while. It took me the past 3.5 years to respect myself to the extent that it's beyond a career or beyond. It's who I am as a person inside.
Mm-hmm.
And so the positive self talk enabled me to do that. And being around you all in this community, and especially to a few of you who I'm very close to, and like on this show. Um, you have helped me to appreciate the special things about myself that I never considered to be special. And so once I started seeing that, you held up a mirror to me, and showed me all the good things about me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that made me feel so good, and now I can help. And see, that's something I did naturally with others
Mm-hmm.
all my life,
Yeah.
especially on the career. I
You just
helped
didn't
bring
do
out.
it for yourself.
I didn't do it for me,
Mm-hmm.
and so now I do the mirror work.
Mm-hmm. I know
I'll do the mirror work,
it's kind of funny, huh?
and I listened to Lucky Stone, and I learned, hey,
Mm-hmm.
Lucky has this positive affirmation thing going, and so I did that for a while, and I still do every now and then, and so it helps you build yourself up from the inside out, and it gives you confidence,
Yep.
and then
Self-confidence. Yeah.
yeah, and then you feel more balanced and secure. So I don't put myself down anymore, and I don't think
Mm-hmm.
I'm unworthy anymore.
Right.
And when I do accomplish something, what is that saying? You have give yourself a Mickey Mouse pat on the back, giant
I
Mickey
do
Mouse.
that a lot. Yeah.
She does that a lot, and so
Mickey
I
Mouse
learned how to,
hands.
yeah, and it's okay to do that without being egotistical.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's not something I would have thought to do
Yeah.
because I was always taught that's just that's conceit, or
Yeah.
that's making yourself more special
No,
than you really are. Well,
that's
guess what? I
self-confidence.
am
And yeah, damn
special.
straight. I'm confident. Yep. I
Yeah.
don't care what you say. It doesn't matter to me.
Yep. Yep. So
Well,
now I smile more than I frown.
That's
yeah, there you
right.
go. Yeah, smile does a lot, doesn't it? Just keep
Yes,
a
it
smile on your
does.
face. Yep. Positive. You got it.
Triggers endorphins.
Yes,
Yep.
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Just by putting a smile on your face, it does trigger those
Well, if
endorphins.
you
It does
can't
big
enjoy
time.
yourself, how can you enjoy other people?
Yeah, and how do you know
Mhm.
they're gonna enjoy you?
Yeah.
Right.
Can you sit with yourself? Can you be with yourself and be okay with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I can. When is less more when allowing others their thoughts? You know those types of people where they're very opinionated and they have their own ideas about how things are, and that could be said about yourselves as well. When is less more when allowing others their thoughts, Grandpa Brian?
What was that?
Mm. When is
Luna
less?
distracted me for a second.
I saw that, Luna. When is less more when allowing others their thoughts? You know, when you get people that
Well,
are, they really have this need to tell you how they feel, and it's all about how important it is that they tell you how they feel. When is less more? I mean, how do you deal with that?
uh, just knowing that they're on their own journey. Someone one time told me that I'm trying to think of what it was that he called me.
It's a PG show.
I can't believe I'm. Yeah, I know.
Share,
Yeah, I
share,
know.
Grandpa Brian, share, because
Uh,
it can help others.
way back in the day, I actually sat with people when they were on their deathbed, and they would just release stuff to me, and I would
Mm-hmm.
not judge. Sometimes I would say something, sometimes I wouldn't. I have people come up to me now, strangers, and
Mm-hmm.
just start pouring out to me, and I just sit there and listen, let them get whatever they have on their chest off, and then 90% of the time I don't say anything. I can see the relief in their eyes, just letting it off their chest to someone that they didn't know, just getting it out there and getting it off their chest. And it's knowing that they're on their own journey. Don't judge
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm.
When it's stuff that's been going on in their life and everything, just let them get it off their chest. Don't judge
Mm-hmm.
them. Just comfort them. Because if you let them get it off their chest, they're going to feel better about themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I like that. How about you, Dalibor? When is less more when allowing others their thoughts?
When is less more when allowing others their thoughts? That's a that's a tough one. Um, I'd say the more opinions someone has, the less they're interested in your own.
Hmm.
So, I'd leave it at that.
Yeah, I like that. That's
Oh,
excellent.
I
That's
think, and now I
excellent.
get it.
Yeah.
All right.
How about you, Sophia? When is less more when allowing others their thoughts?
I think it goes back to what Karen was saying and other people have said. It depends on, here comes my favorite word, drum roll, the dynamic. I know, right?
Mhm,
Ta-da!
mhm,
But is this my friend? Is this my family? Is this someone I'm giving a reading to? Is this, there's a lot of things that come into play. Is
Hmm.
that person like physically being threatening to me? That would be an unhealthy decision.
Hmm.
Um, it just depends. I mean, I'll listen, and it's generally 5 minutes. Then I'll
Hmm.
like you said earlier. Some people just want to be heard. They
Hmm.
heal by being heard, and I can generally feel out the situation to know when it's like, yeah, you're wasting my most valuable asset, my time, but no, we need to hang out in order for both of us to benefit. So,
Hmm. Yep, relationships. It's really about
mhm.
relationships. How much do you value that relationship? And, is this somebody that's in your life, or is this somebody you're just meeting at the grocery store, or a neighbor, or something like
yeah.
that? There's so many different uh, dynamics when you're dealing with relationships with that. Yep.
Right.
How about you, Teresa? When is less more when allowing others their thoughts?
Well, sometimes we all want to get our thought out there, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
And we all come from, we try to come from a heart space, but we have knowledge and experience and wisdom, and we want to tell our stories and share our thoughts and get our points of view on the table. And we'll just go on and on and on to the point where we cut other people off.
Mm-hmm.
So when we sit in silence and just let someone run with it, even if it takes 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes of just being quiet and letting them
Mm-hmm.
share,
Mm-hmm.
I get more. I get more satisfaction than I do when I take the ground and because I can hear something new, something different, something spectacular, something wonderful. It could be something horrible, or it could be something I really need to know about and never thought of before.
Mm-hmm.
That happened to me and Marcia. Uh, we were exchanging text messages, and that's how I got into the whole digging deeper thing with Karen in this first episode of Digging Deeper, because Marcia was just had this just I mean it's like bombarding me with, it was so much information, and I hadn't heard any of it before. I hadn't heard hardly any of it, and I was just and I allowed her to keep supplying me and feeding me with that information. So sometimes taking the back seat, taking just kicking back and letting go and letting somebody else just go is
Mm-hmm.
giving you more. That's when it's more. And it goes back to what you were saying, Lori. It's the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
what you're doing is building trust, and you're showing the other person love and respect. And sometimes people just need to talk and get that out there. And Marcia had a lot to say,
Mm-hmm.
and it was important.
Mm-hmm.
And we took it to Karen, and they said, let's talk about this, because she'd done years of research into it,
Mm-hmm.
put her heart into it, because she really believes in it, in what she's saying to make people aware. So
Mm-hmm.
she needed a platform for doing that. And if I hadn't have sat back and listened to it, it may not have happened. It may
Yeah.
not have. And
Yep.
we're all enjoying it, right, Dalibor? Right, Karen? We're all enjoying the
Exactly.
discussion, because people are going to benefit
Oh
from
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's when
Amazing.
something's more.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. How
Yeah,
about
because
you, Karen?
see, we've all done this research, you know, so
Yeah.
we're pretty much all coming at it from different angles because each of us
Yeah.
focused on different aspects of the subject at hand.
Yeah, you
But I
bring
did.
something to the table.
I had zero knowledge.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I heard bits and pieces, but I didn't believe anything.
Yeah.
But no, you brought us all together.
I know.
That's the whole point. You brought us all together.
I know, because I shut
Yeah,
the hell up and let everybody else
yeah,
talk.
hmm, yeah. Hmm.
How about you, Karen? When is less more when allowing others their thoughts?
Exactly, basically what Teresa said. I'm the same like that. Being a Gemini and a communicator and an information analyst and all this information and stuff that's always in my
Yeah.
head, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I can't help but wanting to get it all out, you know. And so I appreciate when it's the on the other side. I'm more the other way, and I appreciate when people just let me go. Blah, I get it all out.
Yep.
So that's I'm the other person, so I appreciate that when the other person, you know, people let me do that. And
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I just can't help it. And then it's the opposite, being a Gemini. And what Teresa says is when I do sit back and decide, you know, to listen and just shut the hell up.
Mm-hmm.
It's when I do learn something and gain something and get the more.
Yeah.
Some aspect or some little tidbit I didn't realize, or and a lot of times it then, for me, I process it after, and I really take a lot of time with what everybody says, and it makes it's important for me, and I do process it and then reconsider and change my opinion sometimes, and you know, and just really get into, you know, what people say. You know, a lot of times I'm wrong and sometimes I'm right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
You,
Hmm.
Go
can I
ahead,
just
Teresa.
follow up
Yes,
with
sure.
one
Yeah.
quick thing to what Karen just said?
Mm-hmm.
It involves mastering your own ego,
Right.
so that so that so that you can put aside what you feel is important or what you feel has to be said, to enable that to come out so the others can bring that out. And you'll find a lot of times, I'll find in a conversation like this where there's six of us just chatting away,
Mm-hmm.
that you have far more, well, that's a comparison. You have just as much, if not more so, information that's coming out of you than I could ever provide in the statement that I was going to make. And so that's a lesson
Hmm.
to learn, because it's that's where self mastery comes in, and
Mm-hmm.
controlling your emotions and responses, and it's maturity.
Yeah.
Because what you're really doing is you're it's not a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a stepping aside to let others shine. And when you do that, you end up sometimes opening up a whole plethora of knowledge that may not have come out otherwise if you had let your ego run you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sophia, did you talk about that? Did you talk about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you froze up, she was.
Okay, cool. All right. Next question for Grandpa Brian. Who is responsible for your feelings? And these questions come from my guides, everyone. This is from Spirit. So this is why I'm asking the panel, is to give you a fresh look at how people respond to these questions, and hopefully it helps you in the process. Who's responsible for your feelings, Grandpa Brian?
He's on mute.
Yeah, it could be frozen too.
I see the fan going in the
No,
background.
he's
Oh,
moving.
he moved. There he is.
You're on mute, Brian. Take yourself off mute, hon.
Oh,
He
there.
actually. Go ahead, Lori, with the question.
Did you catch that, Brian? Interesting. All right. Well, Dalibor, who is responsible for your feelings, Dalibor?
Well,
Who's
ultimately, you are.
responsible for how you think and feel?
Ultimately, I am.
You
Always.
are. You're
Yeah, I
responsible
am.
for everything.
Wow, that's a delay.
And a half.
Hmm.
Are you
Yeah.
I'm.
sure I'm on mute? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just have a
Well.
very long delay, Brian.
Yep.
Who is it long?
You're responsible for yourself, your actions, everything you do. Yes, I did.
Hmm.
Yeah, self-responsibility for what you think and feel. And nobody has the power to make you feel any way you don't believe about yourself. I firmly believe that. That's something that I've learned big time with that. What you feel about it, I can't make you feel anyway. You're going to feel how you're going to feel. I don't have the power to make you feel anyway. So, yeah, I just can't say that one enough. No doubt. How about you, Sophia? Who's responsible for your feelings?
This
You.
one
You.
Hmm.
right here.
Me, 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 me.
And it boils down to the controlling how people, how close you allow people to you. And I
Mhm.
gotta say it. I got some monkey shines bubbling up here.
Okay.
Um, we got there's 15 people in the chat box, and it's like 15 monkeys jumping on the bed because they're funny tonight. Grumpy's on one. You
Mhm.
guys need to go back and read it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
but
He's having
hang
fun.
on. Squirrel ball shiny. Here we go. Who's responsible for your feelings? I'm responsible for my feelings. Nobody can make me feel anything without my consent.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. I have to
100%.
allow it.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, I didn't really employ that like to the degree and intensity it is now until this is going to be embarrassing and I'm going to regret this. Probably 2010. I mean, you know, but that's when I finally put my foot down. You know,
Mhm.
nothing like dealing with a narcissist, okay? To get to be like,
Mm.
is that my
Hmm.
feeling? Is that an interjected thought? You know, you start questioning everything when you're around somebody that toxic. And
Yeah.
then it's like I finally put my foot down. I was like, I don't allow it.
Yeah.
So
The
you can do
gaslight
what you're
thing.
gonna do,
Mhm.
but I'm doing me.
Yep. Dang too.
Mhm.
How about you, Teresa? Who is responsible for your feelings?
Well, I am, of course, all
Mhm.
versions of me and aspects of me since the beginning of time. Because there are blueprints, there are memory imprints that come back. And so I am a culmination of everything I've ever been and experienced. And so not everything's always been positive. So,
Mhm.
but ultimately it comes down to me or areas, the integrated, full, balanced me. But I tell you, a lot of what I come across is well, I wouldn't be so angry if the insurance companies didn't try to take all that money from me. Well, I wouldn't be so distrusting if the government hadn't lied to me about this, that, or the other. Um, I don't feel happy. I feel grumpy because um, there's this elite group of people that are trying to steal the human body. You know, so there's 100 million things that you could come up with to explain your feelings or your emotions.
Mhm.
Um, and those are things that are outside of your immediate control. And so it's very easy to shift the responsibility of those feelings onto something or someone outside of self. So that's justifiable anger, justifiable frustration, justifiable mistrust. Nobody's judging that.
Mhm.
It's about accepting responsibility for how you react and feel and allow yourself to feel. And so
Yes,
it's
but
good to allow yourself to feel pain. It's good to allow yourself to feel a little bit of anger. It keeps you aware. It's good
but
to feel frustrated
mistrust
because
mistrust is not an emotion.
Hmm.
Mistrust can be an emotion when it causes you the anger and the ability and the wanting to go into a full rage, or to take revenge, or to speak talk negative, to speak violent talk about tearing someone down, or blowing somebody up, or getting away with somebody. When you let your feelings get so worked up into those emotions, and it's all based because somebody blew your freaking trust, and it's understandable. But when it comes down to controlling your response to it, I mean, I can pick up something and throw it across the room at somebody, or I can choose not to pick it up and throw it across the room. So I can choose to respond different ways about that, rethink the situation, write my congressman, vote for something else, join a local community like Jules has done in Australia, make a difference if you want to change something. Put something in motion that allows you to feel like you're more in control, that you're having a say, as opposed to letting it go and just exploding. And that's where this question is the responsibility. It's not theirs, it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
ours as individuals. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's good. We respect your opinion. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. How about you, Karen? Who's responsible for your feelings?
For my feelings?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my big black fluffy cat, of course, right beside me.
Ah,
You think I would take responsibility for that? I just joking, of course.
I love that. That's funny.
Yeah,
That's
well,
funny.
we do. Yeah, come on, look how close we are to our pets and animals. We love them so much. Our
Mm-hmm.
cats and dogs. They're completely responsible for our feelings and our emotions. They're right there. They're so, But no, we are. I mean, it's quite obvious. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm completely responsible. Um, Emotions are responses to everything, and I'm completely responsible for my response to anything that I'm doing or not doing. So we're completely responsible for our reality on this planet and our response to it and how we feel about things. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're completely
Mm-hmm.
responsible for it.
Yep.
I'd like to answer this for Chloe,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
but we got to think, is anything good coming from that anger? Yes. See, I think there's a misnomer, a misunderstanding in the spiritual community that we have to hide from our emotions or bury our emotions or not
Mm-mm.
experience them because it's not a good thing, or it
Right.
doesn't put us on a spiritual path of growth and
Mm-hmm.
development.
Mm-hmm.
I have learned more by accepting why and questioning, allowing that emotion to occur, if even only briefly, because I can control how much of it I allow the experience of.
Mm-hmm.
But then I can inner reflect and go, why did I feel that way? It allows me to analyze the reason. And the reason might be that there's something going on I should have been aware of that I wasn't. Or it allows me to not put myself in a risk situation, allows me to define what I don't want or don't need, and then I can better define what it is I want. So sometimes I think it's okay that there is some good that comes out of the expression of some emotion up to a point. When it becomes out of control and it controls you and puts you in a situation of doing things that cause harm to others or to yourself, to your health or your blood pressure or whatever, then no. So you want to find that balance. But I would encourage people to face their emotions head on. I've done it, right, and I've grown from it.
Mm-hmm. Know
Yeah. Well,
yourself.
I'll say the word. There's actually something called controlled anger, and it's actually
Yeah.
quite good for you.
Mhm.
So I'll just leave it at that. And if anybody wants to look that up,
I
yeah.
would
So
Mhm.
say I would add yes, controlled anger, but also
controlled anger.
directed at the right people and at the right situations. Like in the
Mhm.
United States or in most countries, the actions of government that directly affect you are at the local level. They're at the municipal level.
Mm-hmm.
They are not at the federal level, but at the municipal level is where you have the most amount of control as a voter, as a citizen. So, if something's pissing you off, like the property tax assessment or whatever. Find out who's the property tax assessor. There's a problem with police brutality. Who's the prosecutor? Who's the chief of police? Who, you have democratic control over who gets into those positions. So, you might want to rephrase or reform your anger towards constructive purposes and changing those things that you have actual control
Yes.
over instead
Yes.
of getting pissed off about some monkey
Yeah.
puppet guy, whatever. You know,
Mm-hmm.
who cares
Yeah.
about him? Who cares
Yep.
Yeah.
about him?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
next question. And Grandpa Brian, we know you're on a delay. When do you shut out negativity? For me, it's when situations and emotions don't feel good, it doesn't have a positive feeling, then that's a good indicator to remove yourself from the situation. But Grandpa Brian, when do you shut out negativity? Wow, that's way more than 10 seconds, isn't it?
Yeah. He's having the problem I had Sunday.
All right.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Huh. And I know as soon as I go to Dalibor, there it is.
Whenever I feel that energy around me,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a person or a place, you always have to protect yourself. So either you leave the situation or you basically protect yourself against that negative energy. There's nothing else you can do besides remove yourself from a situation.
Mm-hmm. Yep, very true. How about you, Dalibor? When do you shut out negativity?
Well, anytime I encounter it, when it's not productive, when it's not for the purposes of resolving some kind of a conflict, addressing some kind of an issue, or coming to an understanding about some kind of an issue. In other words, if it's just negativity out of the blue or negativity for no purpose, then it has no business interfering in my life. In the days of TV, I would just grab the remote and change the channel.
There it is.
I like that.
That's
Change the station,
yeah,
change the frequency, the vibration. Yep, I like
change the
that.
frequency.
I love it. How about you, Sophia? When do you shut out negativity?
um, I transmute it.
Mm. Mm. I like that.
Anytime I'm doing any kind of energy work, or if somebody is attempting to siphon energy from me, and I'll probably regret this later, and I do it more than one way, but I send it all to the core of the earth. Energy is neither created nor destroyed, it moves. So if
Mhm.
there's negativity, that, in my opinion, is a call for balance and transmutation. So you can
There
do
you go.
something with the energy.
Yeah, I like that.
Spot on.
Hmm.
Spot
Mhm.
on.
Awesome. How about you, Teresa? When do you shut out negativity?
I uh, have learned that not everything is negativity. It's my perception of what's going on that's negativity.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
And so there are times when I catch myself getting ready to storm off or getting ready to explode about something and realizing internally and realizing it's not what I perceive it to be. So the first thing I do is take time to analyze it as best I can to really determine if it is. And I'll know if it is if I'll know it's a real negative situation if it makes me feel like I'm going to, regardless of my perception, if it makes me feel like I'm going to lose self control, or if it makes me feel like I'm going to get triggered by an old memory and thereby bring back in old thoughts, or if it's going to put me into a cycle that I've broken of certain type of behavior that I don't want to experience anymore, I just take a walk. I get in the car, I
Mm-hmm.
take a drive, I
Mm-hmm.
ground with nature, I go get a matcha, I or a frappe, or sometimes I'll take Ruby for a ride.
So you just
Um,
remove yourself from the situation. Is that what you
yeah, I
mean?
just find I find. Thank you,
Something
Lori. I
else?
find a space. Yeah, I find a place
Mm-hmm.
that's mine. It's my go-to place.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of them, and I go to those places and I just be, and I shut everything out. I breathe. I just breathe. I let it go. I accept what was going on. I let it go, and I forgive, and then I move on. I just remove myself from the situation, and because it could come to blows if I don't, or it could lead me into acting and treating somebody a certain way, and I could have been wrong about my perception. So
Mm-hmm.
I go and do the self analysis.
Mm-hmm.
I don't beat
Yep.
myself up, but I
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes it's good to go, how did I create this situation? How am I responsible for this?
right.
What's my part? What did I play in this? Yeah, those come to my
Mm-hmm.
mind when I'm dealing with something like that. Did I create this somehow? How am I I got to take responsibility for my part in it. And when I do, then I
That's
like
right.
to make the adjustments. So,
Yeah,
That's
and
yeah.
right.
you know what? It's okay to contact your guides and do a little venting,
Mm-hmm.
blow off a
Absolutely.
little steam, or
Sure.
someone you're really super close to,
Mm-hmm.
w- uh, just to share. I mean, if you can't come to terms to it, or you're feeling like you need a release, and so sometimes you can release it with your guides, and sometimes you can release it with someone you're really close to and you really trust.
Yeah, most definitely. How about you, Queen of Courts? Karen, when do you shut out negativity and how do you do it?
Sort of like a combination. Sophie and Teresa
Mm-hmm.
said it's basically I mostly I transmute energy from people and situations,
Mm-hmm.
from negative to positive,
Mm-hmm.
or you try to. But to begin with, it's a matter of belief and what you believe in and take on from the negativity. So to begin with, you have to be convinced that personally to believe in what that person is saying or not saying. And generally, with me, is that's what's happened. And so for me, I have to sit by and process it. And usually, it's me that has to transmute or change my thinking
Mm-hmm.
because it's I've taken on the negativity, whatever that is, to some, because that's the only way you do it. So that means you have to accept what the people are saying to begin with and take it on. So I have. So in other words, then that means I then have to take the long process and start changing my thinking process and
Mm-hmm.
changing and transmuting my own thinking of that energy and that thinking, because everything comes from thinking and even our
Yep.
feelings and emotions. So I have to sit
Making the adjustment. Yeah.
well, that's where it comes from. It has
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do with the other person. It's just yourself. So,
Right.
so I go through that process and I completely sit until I change my own thinking, my own thought process from the negative to the positive in the process,
Yeah.
and no longer carry that energy with any kind of situation. So, in other words, you have to now not believe what this person is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is,
Discernment,
discernment
having discernment.
for yourself. So
Right. Yeah. Not for
on
someone else, only
other
for you.
you take the negativity usually comes from other people's personal beliefs and putting them on yourself. So, but
Mm-hmm.
mostly it's changing my own thought patterns is where
Right.
it comes from
Yeah.
completely.
I like that.
Hmm.
When do you shut out negativity, Grandpa Brian? For me, it's situations and emotions that don't feel good or has a positive feeling. Then that's a good indicator to remove yourself from the situation. When do you shut out negativity? You're muted.
Whenever I feel the energy of negativity, because you can always feel someone's energy field when they're around you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to be close.
Ooh, yeah, you feel it.
That's when yep, you feel it. You protect yourself again. It's always about protecting yourself. Maybe you can transmute it and release it, but you're better to protect yourself whenever you get around negative person, negative situation.
Hmm.
It it doesn't matter. It's just either remove yourself or protect yourself, and that's how I
Yeah.
deal with it.
Exactly.
Isn't it
And most
true
of the time,
that
I try to remove myself from the situation.
yeah, yeah. That your energy is, you put your arms out, and that's how far your energy reaches. So that's a pretty good distance between the two. No matter how you put them out there, that's people are picking up on that energy. So that's a really good point, Grandpa Brian. I like that.
Uh-huh.
How about you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Grandpa Brian.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you can actually you can push your energy field out further. So
Yes,
you can
yes.
push your energy field out further than what your arms can reach.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
know I've pushed
typically
mine out as far as
speaking.
25, 35 foot away from myself
Sure.
and had
Yeah,
other
you
people
can.
feel my energy.
Yep, that projection. Yeah, absolutely. I understand that. Yeah. How about you, Delbor? When do you shut out negativity?
Well, whenever it's no longer productive, whenever it's like I said before, whenever it's not part of some kind of a conflict resolution, or you know mm, some kind of a negotiation that's leading somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
whenever it's just about insults or whatever, I'll just walk away, change the channel, like I said before.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Pretty much. Yep. Sophia, how about you? When do you shut out negativity? Oop, you're muted.
I'm getting myself. I think I already answered that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
don't. I don't shut it
Yeah.
out. I
She
transmute
transforms it.
it.
You
Yeah.
transmute it. Yep.
Transmute it.
Mm-hmm.
You know
And
a good way of transmuting, Sophia? Do you use humor?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yes.
I would say,
Yeah,
yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
I
Laughing
uh-huh.
is the
If you can,
quickest way.
if you, there was a time when my dad, he got real mad at me one time. I won't get into the details, but he came after me and he grabbed me and started shaking me. He was trying to throw me through the glass sliding door, and 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 I just and I and we started calling each other names, you know. And I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me, and there was such anger. I just busted out laughing because it was so wrong, but it was also so funny that this little guy was manhandling, you know, a grown woman, and wasn't a kid anymore. And so I just was like looking at him, and I'm like, and he's like, and I was like, Dad, and I'm like, back at you, you know, and he's like, what? And I'm like, ah, and he's like, ah. So we actually used laughter to calm ourselves down and
Mm-hmm.
release each other physically and create an arm's length away from each other so that we weren't in each other's faces, and because he could get
Right.
that way sometimes, and so I used humor, and I have since then learned to do that with certain other people, um, and if and so that can be very transforming. It's one of the easiest things to do.
True.
Tell
And
a joke,
cheapest.
or yeah, yeah. I just think
Laugh.
humor is a major way. If you're dealing with someone who's like that, absolutely, because you might be able to joke them out of it. You know,
Yeah.
doesn't always work, but
Mm-hmm. Lady
anyway.
Spitfire, I'm not sure what's going on in chat there. As far as I'm concerned, you didn't say anything wrong. I don't know what that's all about, but I didn't see anything of that nature. Something your comment got grayed out wasn't from us, so just letting you know about
Uh,
that. Yeah. Karen, what about you? When do you shut out that negativity?
I already answered that too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then let's move on.
We got to move on from that.
I got a lot going on here. Watching you guys, trying to keep up with the questions. It's all
Oh,
good.
that's okay. It's all
All
good.
right. Okay. Well, let's go to Brian. Next question. How can you be in charge of your emotions? And I see what the guides are doing here. They're absolutely getting it from every single angle here. It's quite interesting. But how can you be in charge of your emotions? I say by understanding them and getting to know why you feel the way you do about something. Pretty much. Dreaded delay.
Yeah, it's not usually this
I hear
bad.
crickets.
He's had a lot of storms and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it.
And I know as soon as I go to Dalibor.
I'm more.
Yep. Okay, Dalibor, how can you be in charge of your emotions?
By being in charge of your emotions. By,
Oh, you
don't
just
know, but-
flipped it. I see what you
Pretty
did there.
straightforward. Just be in charge.
You start
By-
smacking yourself, Dalibor.
by consciously realizing that you have them, I suppose, and by becoming aware of them. And because ultimately your emotions are your own. Nobody
Mhm.
else is putting them in your head except you, right?
Yep,
So,
true.
nobody else has control over your mind except you do.
Mhm.
So ultimately nobody else is to blame for your emotions except you. So that's
I
pretty
love
much
that.
it.
Yep,
Yeah.
I love that. How about you, Sophia? How can you be in charge of your emotions?
I've pondered this question. Out of all of them, I think this one is my favorite.
Cool.
For me, at least, there's spiritual anatomy, okay, and there's more than one train of thought. But my approach, what I employ in my daily spiritual walk, is you have the left brain, which is the very analytical, very logical, and you have the right side of the brain, which is very creative and very emotional. That's how I look at it. When I'm feeling emotional, I have to put the truth to it to make sure that my reaction is valid. And that's just cognitive skills 100, kids.
Mhm. Where's the
So,
truth of the matter?
right. And then being in charge of my emotions is making sure that I'm not leaning too far into that spectrum, that I'm doing the self-care that's not going to trigger the emotional mind to run rampant over the entire mechanism, the entire body, because
Mhm.
if you have control of your thoughts and you have control of your emotions and you can actually get them to work together,
Mhm.
that's when the amplification of manifestation steps forward in my life. And our culture does not help us, think things through, because they want
Mhm.
the reaction. They want something they can publish, something that's going to turn heads. They don't generally, most, they don't want to see somebody that plays things all the way through. If I react
Mhm.
this way, this is what's going to continue to happen. And
Mhm.
I would say staying in the moment is very, very
Mhm.
important,
Mhm.
but also realizing that your emotional body is only part of what we are. We get so caught up in our emotions, we forget that it's actually a team
Mhm.
situation.
Mhm.
That's what I feel. And I got to plug my computer in. It is flipping me off.
Yeah, it's about that reaction. Most people just react instead of thinking about how they're going to respond. They're just in a
Right.
mode of reaction, and then the
Yes.
emotion comes up, and they just automatically start coming from that space instead of
Some
thinking about it for a second or two and then
some
responding. Go ahead.
some people don't realize they have a choice because
Mm-hmm.
they were raised with people that were very emotional and reactive.
Mm-hmm.
And when I realized, that I had a choice in how I experienced life, I started making different choices.
Mm-hmm.
So once you realize you have that liberty, then things begin to look different.
Yeah. You're
At least it
talking
did in
about,
my life.
yeah, that ancestral programming, just that programming that
True.
you get through your lineage and the line, your parents, their parents. Yeah.
Especially if there's been any kind of abuse or
Mm-hmm.
alcoholism or things like that. You have
Mm-hmm.
to navigate things to get even footing sometimes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep. Agreed. How about you,
hmm
Teresa? How can you be in charge of your emotions?
Well, like I was saying earlier, it's not about suppressing them. It's more like repressing them, eh, experimenting with them, understanding them, getting to know them. After all, they're part of you. Like, you have an eyeball, you have arms, legs, fingers, toes, you have
Mm-hmm.
emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So suppressing them isn't necessarily healthy. So I've been doing it by trying to identify what it is that I'm feeling and why I'm feeling the way I am. So I just take a few moments to check in with my higher self or to check in with my. If I take the time to stop and breathe and ask the question, that in
Mm-hmm.
itself is taking control because I'm not just allowing everything to hang out and flap around. I'm actually saying, wait a minute, what just caused this?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I reacting this way? So once I go into self analysis mode, I am controlling. I'm taking control right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I've been seeing, say I've been seeing someone or some friends, and they trigger me, and I feel like this is right back to, you know, they want to get together next weekend. This is what I was going through for a while with my friends, and they would set me off every time we got together. So I stopped the behavior. I stopped getting together so much. I put distance between us and eventually ended up separating from that particular group and finding another group to hang out with and having a good time. So sometimes you're retraining your own programming. What you feel comfortable, you got to break out of your comfort zone and do something different. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You do-
Mm-hmm.
you change. Taking control of your emotions means you change things, but you have to do that inner work first to analyze why you're feeling things, and then
Mm-hmm.
you can identify what things you want to change about it and break the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So just and break it. That's number two.
Reprogramming your
Break
brain.
the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Retrain yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two of the best ways: self analysis,
Mm-hmm.
identify, retrain, break the cycle, do something different.
Yep.
So that's another way of transmuting
Mm-hmm.
all those things, and you'll end up finding out things about yourself that you never knew.
Yeah.
The possibilities are limitless.
Mm-hmm. Very true. How about you, Karen? How can you be in charge of your emotions?
How am I in charge of my emotions? Um, well, I look at it as what kind of reality I want to create today
Mm-hmm.
for myself, because I start with that. Because some days I want to be really kiddish and young and youthful and happy, want to do certain things. Some days, my emotions, might want to feel angry about something, and I want to, whether
Mm-hmm.
because I want to have righteous indignation or angry to adjust to tackle something that that I want that kind of energy and so on. So it's
Mm-hmm.
more for me like what reality I want to create for how the emotions work and how I want to feel, because our thoughts um, create our reality of what we want to create.
Mm-hmm.
And with our thoughts, we
Yeah.
create our emotions, and with those
Yep.
emotions, we create our realities, which we create our actions. So I go through that whole process during the day of, okay, what do I want to create to the point of the action of the day, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's how I create it. So it's all based, of course, on your, what emotion you want to feel for the day, for kind of
Mm-hmm.
that. So I go. That's what I do basically.
I
If
like
that
that.
makes if that
It
makes
does.
sense. So what
It does
reality do you
make
want to
sense.
create?
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes your emotions for the day of what you've created, and it's all from again your thought patterns, right? So you just sit
Yeah.
with yourself to and
Mm-hmm.
that's where you can change the
Mm-hmm.
what we talked about, transmuting your negative to positive, right? And change your reality. So you can do it either or way. So you can start with an emotion and change it, or you
Mm-hmm.
can start with no emotion. When you get up in the day, you don't really have an emotion too much till the day gets going. So you can
Mm-hmm.
take charge of it, or can take control of your day and your
Mm-hmm.
reality and your emotions from the very moment you get out of bed, or even
Right.
before you even get out of bed. I
Yeah.
used
And
to, I
that's
used to,
really
I usually do
self-mastery.
that before I even get out of bed.
Yeah.
What kind of emotion? What am I going to do today?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's
Mhm.
self-mastery there.
That's
That's
it.
Absolutely.
being in
There
control
you
of
go.
your emotions and what you think
And your
about, you
day.
bring about. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
absolutely.
There you go.
Dalibor, when is it okay to walk away?
Anytime it's not productive, anytime you're
Mm-hmm.
not getting anywhere, anytime you start repeating the same things over and over again, that's your indication
Mm-hmm.
that the conversation or the situation is getting nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. I love that. Sophia, how about you? When is it okay to walk away?
Um, when is it? It's also very situational. I'm not a fair weather friend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So depending on where you are in my life,
Mm-hmm.
if things get physical, I have to walk away because that I don't. When things get physical, I switch into a different mode to where I don't remember anything, and I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So when if I walk away, let me walk because I will stay as long as I can, depending on what that person, if that person wants it or if that
Mm-hmm.
person needs it,
Mm-hmm.
that interaction, because there's a difference. Because some
Yeah.
people just want the attention because they have lack of something else to do. Some
Yep.
people need the energy exchange.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
I think it's
I'm
healthy to walk away from a situation that's not serving you or the other person.
it's
It,
healthier for
and it
them
and yeah, and,
You
and
better
it,
believe
it
it.
takes some strength to just turn around and walk away and not get caught up in the
to
drama.
keep walking
Well, yeah.
is where
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
strength
Mhm.
comes in.
Yes.
To
Mhm.
keep walking.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Agreed. I love that, Sophia. Thank you.
Yeah.
Uh, Karen, how about you? When is it okay to walk away?
Then walk away.
Uh, no, it's the same. I agree.
Yeah.
Teresa, you guys,
Yep.
and Dalibor, it's all the same thing. It's based on in the moment, in the heat of things, whether it serves you or not, whether it serves the other person or not. Just all kinds of conditions about when it's appropriate to walk away or not.
Yeah.
Just
Again,
like
you
the
have to use judgment, self discernment. You have to know yourself. You have to know how deep you need to get into things or not. It
Mm-hmm.
just and the
mm,
appropriate time to exit or not. So it's
Yeah.
one of
it's just
those
like
things that we learn with living and
Mm-hmm.
age.
it's like that old song. These boots were made for walking. It's what they're
That's
gonna
just what
do.
they're
No,
gonna
what?
Yeah.
do.
And one of these days they're gonna
Nancy
walk all
Sinatra.
over you. Yeah,
Yep.
that's it.
Nancy Sinatra.
Uh,
Yeah. And it really is. Self esteem is the ability to make your own decisions when you take responsibility for yourself and you realize that you have control over your emotions. It's simple. Self mastery is the byproduct of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
mhm.
All right. I got two more questions. I know these seem a bit remedial for some of us, but I think it's good for the audience because there's so many different levels of people that are watching, and it's important for them to be able to explore this. And someone who's just now coming into this might be the catalyst for the change for themselves. So Let's see. Let's see. Where do you get your sense of self-esteem, Dalibor? Where do you
Well,
get that?
I think
That's
didn't we answer that before? Wasn't that
yeah,
number?
yeah. And like I said, some of these are kind of redundant, but this is what the guides gave me, and I'm sticking to
Yeah,
it.
sense of
uh,
esteem. I guess from my own accomplishments. It's not based on what other people, what degrees others have given me, or merit badges they've given me, or
mhm,
raises, or anything like that. It's um, have I met up? Have I lived up to my own ideals? Have
mhm,
I exceeded my own expectations? Did I meet my goals in life?
mhm,
Have I been true to myself?
mhm,
Those kinds of questions that I ask myself, and I would say on a resounding yes to all of them, almost all
mhm.
of them. Yeah.
Awesome.
Hmm.
Now, Karen, we all know that you have a very strong sense of self-esteem. Where do you get that strong sense of self-esteem?
Oh, where do I get? I think I've had it since a child. I can honestly say my self-esteem come from a very strong family.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Mother, father, siblings. You know, we were all always cared for, had what we needed, were well loved. We were promoted to do whatever we wanted as far as advancements, whether it was sports, career, job, support, love, it didn't matter. We were listened to. So I can honestly say for myself, my self esteem uh, came from my family unit from the time I was born.
I
I just
agree.
happened. I just happened to be born into
Mm-hmm.
a good family that
Yep.
supported that in our growth, and
Yep.
our environment and programming comes from the time we're born. And
Mm-hmm.
when people don't have self-esteem and they can pick out certain points, it's because they haven't had that core uh, programming, when we're born, or that unit, or that within their family, and then they maybe acquire it later in life or something, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
for myself, I have to say that since I was a child, I've had very strong self-esteem, and my self-worth, and
Mm-hmm.
strength and courage, and strong women in the family, and
Mm-hmm.
just all that.
Yep.
So
Love and support from your family. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
so
huge. But when you
so
don't get
yeah,
that, that does make it difficult for you to develop that on your own,
correct.
because
So
you don't have that example to live by.
yeah,
So that's interesting. I'm
yeah.
I'm right there with you. I'm in the same boat as you, and that's where I got mine as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How about you, Teresa? Where do you get a strong sense of self-esteem?
Well, I made a list.
Uh huh.
I made a list. Um, uh, I I've been practicing avoiding negative feelings,
Mm-hmm.
like constant self criticism
Mm-hmm.
that um, leads to persistent feelings of sadness, depression, anxiety, anger, shame, or guilt. So
Mm-hmm.
I've worked myself out of that now, or try. Um, Avoiding relationship problems. In other words, don't tolerate. I no longer tolerate unreasonable behavior from people I live with or interact with,
Mm-hmm.
um, because, like Sophia was saying earlier, they need to earn my love and friendship. And I avoid relationships with people that just have expressed and convinced me that they cannot be loved or lovable. They don't want it. They're
Mm-hmm.
not ready to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to force it on them.
Yeah.
I'll still love them from afar, but I'll
Mm-hmm.
remove myself from that. Um, so that builds my own self esteem, because if I care about myself, I'm going to do that.
And self-love too. That's big time self-love. Yeah.
I avoid the narcissistic bullies
Mm-hmm.
because I've been there, done that, and they tear down. They themselves have low self esteem,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
so that's why they're acting the way
Hmm.
they're acting. And so if I want to build mine up, I don't want to connect with people that are just going to try to pull me into their game. So my self esteem says, hey, you can make a choice here.
Hmm.
Don't hang out with them on a regular basis, but that doesn't mean you can't, still feel for them.
Yeah.
And I've given up my fear of trying. I try new things all the time now.
Hmm.
Um, so
You're
I
more
prioritize
adventurous
it.
now. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, you've noticed.
Yeah.
You've noticed
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then don't try to be a perfectionist. See that when you're in the business world, you get raises and promotions and new job opportunities based on the degree to which you hone your craft.
Hmm.
Well, that's great on work environment, but it also can make you into what is it, a type A, pain in the butt personality where you just want to be a perfectionist about every little thing,
Hmm.
and a person can push themselves and become an overachiever to the point that they they only see when they can't reach that goal they've set for themselves, then they fall back into that low self-esteem of saying I'm an idiot, I'm stupid, I'm unworthy, I didn't do it because I'm always never have. And so I get rid of that. I let that go. I don't have to be perfect. I already am perfect in terms of the universe. I'm just learning how to hone it better. But I don't have to come at everything like this must be a certain way. It has to be perfect. And then I'm letting myself down if I can't meet it. See?
Hmm.
And then you
Yep.
go back into that cycle of self-loathing, and I just don't want to feel inferior anymore as a
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Um and the fear of judgment, I let that go.
Yeah.
Because if you buy into what other people think about you, feel about you, or judge you, that can really bring you down. And
Yep.
having self-esteem is knowing you don't have to step into that, right?
Right.
You don't
Or
have to be there.
you can curl up into a little ball in the corner, or you can just
Yeah,
pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and move
right.
forward. So it's really
Yeah,
pretty easy to figure that one out. Yeah.
yeah. And
Hmm.
because you
Hmm.
talk to me daily, you
Hmm.
know that I have challenges
Hmm.
financially. You know that I have challenges with what I want to do with the rest of my life.
Hmm.
And I have these huge obstacles to overcome. And
Hmm.
I work and whittle away at it every single day,
Hmm.
every
Yes.
single day.
Yes, you
Because
do.
if I don't accept the challenge, then I curl up and give up.
Yep. You face that challenge head on. That's how you get through it, is
That's
by
how you
facing
get
it.
self esteem.
Yep. That's exactly right. Face your challenges, move forward.
Yeah.
Don't belittle
Yeah.
yourself. Don't put yourself down. Pick yourself
And
up, brush yourself off, and move forward. Yep.
smoking, nope.
Hmm.
Drinking, nope. Eating
Yeah, I'm
fatty
so proud
foods,
of you for
eating
quitting
sugary
smoking.
foods,
Yep.
all
Good.
those things change your health, change your
Hmm.
you can transform
Hmm.
how you feel and how you look
Hmm.
by letting go of things that weren't good for your body, so taking
Hmm.
care of yourself.
Yep.
And
Responsibility for your body. Yeah, it's a
yeah,
gift. It's a gift to have your body, and we tend to really abuse our bodies. We talk down to our bodies. A lot of
yeah,
us don't like the bodies we're in. You really have to have
yeah.
self love, acceptance for yourself in order to move forward. But yeah,
It's
great
like
point.
any kind of thing that you do that causes your body or mind physical harm
Hmm.
is low self-esteem.
Hmm.
You just don't realize it. But I have learned that there are things that are harmful to the
Hmm.
body and the mind and the soul, and it, it can lead to drug abuse. It can lead to suicide. It can lead to alcoholism. It can lead to overeating. It can lead to diabetes.
Your
It can cause
demise. Hmm.
liver problems, kidney problems. The
Yeah.
list just goes on and on and on. And so if you want to
Cancer.
live
Cancer.
cancer, if you want to live in that world, if that's your
Hmm.
reality that you want to create, I think not. I think most people don't want to do that. Self-harming, they don't want to do that. They just don't know how to break the cycle. And
Right.
it's not something you can do overnight. It's taken years.
Hmm.
You just have to
Absolutely.
chip away at it and find the courage from within to chip
Right.
away at it.
I agree.
So, anyway,
Well, Teresa, you shared this really cool affirmation, positive affirmation, and it's called Hello World, from a gentleman named Dan Coppersmith. And when I read it, I felt drawn to, and you did too, to share this.
Yes, I
And
love it.
I'm
I love
going
it.
to do that right now. It's called Hello World. I am amazing, incredible me, celebrating the being I chose to be. I'm uniquely spectacular. I am one of a kind. Creativity oozes from my heart and mind. I'm stupendous, tremendous. I stand out from the crowd. I do things that aren't allowed. I'm inspiring, desired. I am wonderfully weird. I am unbridled passion. I am highly revered. I'm outrageous, contagious. I am daring and bold. I am honored and cherished. I'm a treasure to hold. I am gifted, uplifted. I am endlessly blessed. I am sought out for the skills I possess. I'm delightful, insightful. I am loved and adored. I live a charmed life. I'm renewed and restored. I'm grateful, elateful. I am centered and wise. I am wealthy and worthy. I am God in disguise. I declare my brilliance. It won't be denied. The world cries out for what I provide. I am powerful, masterful. I am focused and clear. Life beams brighter because I am here. I am blazing, amazing. I can't be contained. I'm glorious, fabulous, radiant flame. I choose to exude all this and much more. My wings are spread. Watch me soar. I
Thank
absolutely
you.
love that. Yep.
Thank you. I
Beautiful
have it
girl.
Oh,
on a
thanks, Lori. That was
card.
good. Really good.
Thank you.
I have it on a card, and
Hmm.
I'm going to put it in Facebook posting, in the
Great.
messenger boxes, Instagram, and Minds. If
Oh, okay.
anybody wants a copy of it,
Hmm.
just send us an email at
You bet.
andromeda7celestialgateway@gmail.com,
Hmm.
and we'll send a copy to you. I put it on a placard. It's on a blue
Oh,
background.
okay.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, folks, that's going to be it for us tonight. We went a little bit longer than normal, but that was really good discussion. Delabor, Suki, thank you always for being here. We love and
Pleasure being
appreciate
here.
you. Karen, Queen of Courts, you're so respected and loved. We appreciate all the wisdom you bring.
Oh, no, thank you.
Teresa, you're the best, my bestie, and I adore you. Thank you for all you do. Much appreciated, and looking forward to our vacation as well.
Oh,
I'm going
yeah.
to be heading out to see you, and we're going to head out to Chesterfield, Camp Chesterfield. So we're so excited. Thank you, Karen, for your support and love and
Oh,
financial assistance. That's greatly, greatly
from the
appreciated.
Crystal Network, yes.
Yeah.
And we hope
So,
to get lots of videos and stories,
oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
we will.
most
Oh, we
definitely.
will.
and,
Yep.
We're
and
going to
we'll
We're
stop
post
at
them all.
excited.
Grandpa. We're
Yeah,
going to
we're
stop
really
at Grandpa
excited.
Brian's
Yep, we're gonna stay
first.
there and have a
Oh,
good
awesome.
meal and hang out with Grandpa Brian. So we're so looking forward to it. And it's been a long time since I've had a really good vacation. I know it has been for you too, Teresa. So
Oh my
we
gosh.
will not be seeing you
Road
next.
trip.
Yeah, just to let everyone know, we won't be seeing you next week. There won't be anything posted. We're literally taking some time off for ourselves. But
Yeah,
when we come back post trip, we'll have a lot to share and some good stories for you. So we're looking forward to that.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So for tonight, thanks for being here. Appreciate you all in chat. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy yourself. Stay cool. And be the best version of you can be. And we love everybody and appreciate you all. So have a great night. Thanks for
Bye,
watching.
everyone. See you out there.